If we talking about breaks and shooters filling lanes, all my dogs is down for war. You can tell how they train. Coaches coach and players play, but they learn from each other. If the roles are reversed, then Jason Kidd, we assist one another. Making strides for a ship in the regular season. Lacing up these nights, a band of brothers turning into some demons. Through the season, spring to fall, we gon' see who is working. When the winter hit the surface, gon' see who deserve it. Left competition in the dust, now the options deserted. Only lions in my circle, we hungry for purpose. Not just living all these stripes, you can see that I earned them. Can't buck the system, take the knowledge and study and learn it. We as strong as the weakest, 1 through 12 is equal. Tried to trap me, saw it now, I had to thread the needle. I had to thread the needle, try erase and draw it up, just trying to see my youngins eating. Yeah, I had to thread the needle, try erase and draw it up, just trying to see my youngins eating.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Coaches Show, for the coaches, by the coaches. We want to welcome Coach Derrick Washington, Coolidge High School, into the building. What's up, Coach? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on with you, man?
Nothing much, man. Good to have you on. Had you scheduled a long time, man. We just had to find a great time to get you on. I'm glad you made us today. The coaches already prepared their pregame speeches. We're already ready to jump ball. The first question is coming from John Kamara.
What's going on, Coach?
Coach K, what's going on with?
Man, nothing much, man. Before we get started, I just want to say I'm proud of you. Probably knew you since you were like 15 years old. And just seeing your whole journey, and then, now you're a coach. And, when you're talking about young coaches, you at the top of the list, like I already told you. Like, and I don't know, are you the youngest coach in the area? I mean, you got a couple of young coaches on here right now.
I don't know. Possibly.
Possibly might be like the youngest coach in the area. So that's like a huge shout out. So just want to say I'm proud of you.
Appreciate it.
So, we want to go ahead and get started. We just want to tell everybody who's Derrick Washington, who's Coach Derricky, and your basketball background.
Coach Derrick Washington. From Uptown, DC. Went to Coolidge High School. Graduated in 2009. Played AAU with DC Assault. Ended up finishing my college career at Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. I did a professional year in Serbia from between 14 and 15. When I came home, that's when I kind of got into coaching. My son wanted to stop playing, so he wanted me to coach him. So that's what kind of got me into coaching. And from there, it's just been like, it took over my passion. Me playing wasn't important anymore. I started to love coaching.
Definitely. So you talked about you finished your basketball playing career at Lincoln. And that kind of leads to my next question. What was your where did you play at before you went to Lincoln, JUCO route? And do you encourage kids to take that route? Because obviously you finished at Lincoln, playing in the CIAA. How did your experiences before you got to Lincoln help you get ready for Lincoln?
Yeah, well, I did JUCO in Kansas. I went to Independence Community College in Kansas. Definitely was a great experience for me because I didn't know anything about junior college. So going there and seeing the level of play as far as junior college, it made me think like, okay, I gotta work. And it puts me in a position today where a lot of kids in our area, they don't want to go to junior college. They think they're better than junior college. And I'm able to tell them like, nah, there's kids all over this country who can play that will go to junior college route without thinking about it because they know that gives you another opportunity to get to where you want to be because everybody want to play Division I basketball.
Definitely. A lot of kids, frown upon going to junior college and, just had to make sure you should shine that light on, junior colleges and making sure that kids can go that route. And, it can be, is a lot of light at the end of that tunnel. So,
for sure.
Appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and, keep the ball rolling, pass it to Tobias Jennifer at Huntington High School.
What's going on, Coach?
Hey, Coach T, what's up with?
Not too bad, man. I don't think we've actually ever had a chance to officially meet or talk, but I've definitely seen you from afar. I know you got a Takeover shirt on. We joined the Takeover family last year, coaching with Coach Chuck Henry and Wade and O and Battle. Those guys, it was a pleasure. I've been to Coolidge and we had to work out there. It was an amazing facility. I've heard a lot of great things. You're doing a lot of great things at Coolidge, so I want to commend you on that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Not a problem, man. I do want to touch base on what John said because obviously I'm a young coach, and I'll be 30 this year, just starting. So I don't know if that makes me the youngest or if that makes you the youngest, but we're right there on the same level.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but nah, man. Just because you're young does not mean that you're not veteran or you don't know what you're doing, because obviously from seeing what you've been able to accomplish and get kids into college and obviously a professional career, you're more than worthy of the job and what you're doing. So that's a great thing. So I'm gonna jump straight into my first question. Like myself, I'm coaching at the high school that I actually went to and played at. So that makes, obviously I'm alumni. So like myself, you're an alumni of the school that you now coach at Coolidge. Can you explain the experience of playing in the DCIAA and now obviously coaching your alma mater in that conference? And then what is your biggest influence in becoming a coach?
I'll start with that. My biggest influence, I would say probably my passion for the game, which I probably need to tone down a little bit, but because in coaching, it's almost like I'm still playing. So I think a lot of kids, they gravitate to me because they see I actually care, and I show that I care beyond basketball as well. So that's probably my biggest influence as far as coaching the game.
Ain't nothing wrong with that at all either.
Yeah. And what was the first part?
I just, I spoke about you being an alumni of the school and playing in the conference, the DCIAA, and now coaching in it. So can you speak on that experience of, of playing in the conference and now coaching in the conference?
When I played in the conference, it was super competitive. You know what I mean? Every school pretty much had 2 to 3 guys that can play. So it was any night you had to bring your A game. Now it kind of died down. So what I'm trying to bring back is just the competitiveness. You know what I mean? Me having a good team, it adds to I'm like the 4th team that can go and play anybody right now, because Wilson, Roosevelt, Dunbar, they always keep their tradition going. That's nice. So when we have our conversations with other coaches, I always tell them, like, let's try to keep our kids in the city. You know what I mean? Let's not let a kid that lives directly across the street from your school end up out McNamara or at one of the WCAC schools. So I'm the youngest, but I'm also talking to the older coaches, just trying to build that bridge to where we can help every school and not just Coolidge for myself, because I want to bring the league back.
Absolutely, man. I think where John was talking about that youth, I think that youth is also a strength, because you can connect with those kids and you can also, relate to them, on that. That's one thing that I would also say that I have in common with the kids, is because we understand what they're going through. And you standing and playing in the conference and understanding the tradition of the schools that are within the conference and wanting to keep that in DC is a testament to you, staff, and the rest of the coaches in the DCIAA. So, man, I appreciate that, man. It's it's a pleasure having you on. Obviously, it's going to be a pleasure to hear more about you and your journey and things of that nature. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass the lob to Coach Will Maynard from Southern High School.
What's up, Coach?
Coach,
it's great to meet you. I always follow you on Twitter. You always give a lot of insightful information, a lot of funny stuff too. To you and your assistant coach, I'll be laughing at y'all like crazy. But it's great to meet you, and hopefully this can be the beginning of a good friendship. And you know what I mean, we'll touch base more and talk, because I definitely respect your program. Obviously, during the season, I don't get a chance to get to DC, but I'm familiar with Coolidge from when DP was there, so I know back when
you know, how much talent you guys have then. I watched you guys
Right.
play Coach Wade today, and I was like, man, this looked like a private school team right there. So definitely, man, I just want to give props to you, and thanks for being on the show and great meeting. Like I said, hopefully we can link up.
Yeah, for sure.
So my question to you is, what's the biggest question? I mean, the biggest misconception about DCIA basketball?
They think our kids are undisciplined and unable to sit in the classroom and get their work done. And you actually have to come in. Our kids, they're big on like loyalty and knowing who they're around. So certain people, if you're a stranger to them, you know what I mean, you'll get that vibe from them as if, oh man, he a knucklehead, he this, he that. But it takes you to get to know these kids in the city because they come up different. I mean, the same in PG County as well. Some of these kids are they just come from difficult situations.
Yeah.
So they give misconceptions to where they get stereotyped. You know what I mean? You see this kid with his pants sagging or things of that nature, they automatically go into a folder to where they ain't gonna be anything. So what I try to do with our kids is teach them the other side of it to where this is why you're being viewed this way. You know what I mean? So pull your pants up. You know what I mean? That don't mean you're not cool. You know what I mean? But you don't want other people to stereotype you without even getting to know you. You know what I mean? Because our kids want they want that. They want to get out of DC. They want to do other things. They just don't know how to express it. So me personally, I try to reach out for every kid in DC. Like I never want to make myself strictly Coolidge. You know what I mean? So when I go to different places, and that's probably, I mean, I don't even wear Coolidge stuff, like unless I got a basketball game. Because I want people to understand. Go ahead.
And I was saying, and I've seen that firsthand when one day I saw you tweet, and you was tweeting about, you know, about getting DCIA kids in school. And I mean, you're always advocating for your kids, but that shows your maturity and how much you care about DC basketball, that you were out there, you was tweeting, trying to get coaches, you know, to send you film so you can get other kids in the school in your conference. So that's commendable. A lot of people not that mature.
No, I'm just trying to change some of the coaches' mindsets, because we do still have a few coaches around who are strictly their school, but we're not in the times where you can only focus on your school right now. Your relationship with other kids in our area will help you get other players. You get what I'm saying? So if we can come together as one, we'll be able to get more kids in school. That's how I'm trying to attack the situation right now.
And it's funny listening to you say what you said about your league, where the biggest misconception being out in Anne Arundel County, which is known more for lacrosse and soccer, is that our kids are soft. So it's interesting to hear you guys talking about how they look at you guys being undisciplined, and the stereotype for us is being soft, and how, you know, we both had the same narrative where we're trying to change the mindset, not just of our kids, but, you know, college recruiters as well. So my other question to you is, and it goes back to, you know, I was watching Quinn Cook live. I saw you on there, stuff like that, about what do you think about the whole public school, private school debate?
Honestly, I think it's even. It's closer than people think. You know what I mean? As far as the talent level, the difference is resources. You know what I mean? They got different resources. They got a legit weight room. They got kids who eat 3-4 meals a day. You know what I mean? It's just about what they have to offer. Talent wise, we can put our kids on the floor, 5 kids from each school, and it'd be competitive. You know what I mean? And WCAC, they probably have a 10, 11 man rotation, to where in public school we may only have 6 or 7. But if you put your best 5 on the floor from each school in our area, it'll be competitive no matter what school it is. It could be Southern versus DeMatha. You put your best 5 on the floor, you'll compete. So I think the public school and the private school debate is closer than a lot of people think. But it's up to us to really show that it's close.
Yeah, and it's interesting to hear that. I echo your sentiments as well. I feel it's a lot closer than what people say it is. And during the summer, when I see some public school teams playing against private school teams, I see them beat them. And then when you bring it up to private school people, they act like they don't know what you're talking about, or they didn't take them serious, or stuff like that.
Right.
And I think sometimes people don't understand it's good basketball played everywhere. You know what I mean?
I was in a situation this year where I got to play St. John's. 2 days before a day before the game, I saw a tweet. St. John's going to beat Coolidge by 40. Mentally, that had me like, oh, there's no way. You know what I mean? So I was extra prepared for the game. I was extra motivated for the game. But I didn't even tell my kids because I didn't want to take them out of the moment. You know what I mean? We about to play St. John's. Don't be it. You know what I mean? Let's just play. But after winning the game, I see that same person that made the tweet go back and say, oh man, St. John's didn't really care about stakes. Like, come on, you can't say they're going to beat us by 40 and then they lose and then you say, you know what I mean, they didn't really care. But they try to downplay public school as if we win, the other team either they took off that night or, no, that's not what happened. We were the better team that night. You know what I mean? So, but we have to put our kids in position to play these schools. Certain public schools won't play private schools. We have to put our kids there to play them because the more we beat them, the more respect we'll get from the outsiders, even though we really don't need it. But in order to get the kids to come to public school, we need to go play these private schools and show that we can compete.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And I remember that game, a situation like that, and hearing about that. I mean, again, if you play the game of basketball, you play to win. Even at my age now, if I'm playing, I'm trying to win. I don't play a game to say, oh, I'm not trying hard. Every time I step foot on the court, whether I'm on the sideline coaching or playing myself, I'm trying to win. There's no such thing to me.
At all times.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you answering my question, and I'm going to pass it to Coach Wade of Blake High School.
Okay.
What's going on, Coach?
Coach, what's going on, man?
It's kind of a small world because now that you mention it, when I saw you played at Lincoln, I'm like, this is where I first saw him when I played against you when I was at Washington at Venice.
Right. Yeah.
So good to see it come full circle back. You know, now that we coaching. And great battle this year. Over the Christmas break.
Right. Yeah.
You guys got the W. I'm looking forward to trying to get that action right back.
Oh yeah, we can do that. I love good games, man.
For sure. But people always say kids are different. Some say coaches are different. But that's being young coaches. How do you see that just the coaching has evolved from when we were playing?
I think kids, we listen to our coaches more when I played. Today, most kids they think they know everything, or if you challenge them, they have an excuse. They saw this before. They go on YouTube. They you know what I mean, they training 7 days a week with 7 different people, so they're being taught different things every day by somebody different. Whereas when I played, I didn't have a trainer. You know what I mean? So if I came in the gym to get some work, and it typically was with my coaching staff. So I trusted my coaching staff. You know what I mean? I didn't have anybody else just pounding. You need to score. You need to score. You need to score. And then my coach is telling me I need to facilitate. I didn't have that. Today, I think that's where it kind of divides. And us as coaches, we kind of have to find a way to deal with it because it's not going to stop. Kids are going to continue. Parents are going to pay for trainers. And you know what I mean? So we have to figure out how to weed our way in and to get them to do what we need them to do for our program without kind of shutting them all the way down, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Nah, right on. I'm right on board with you. And a lot of people that came on just talking about building those relationships, which I think our coaches did as well. Maybe it's just the times that we have to just take a different approach from what we say Maybe they don't handle it all the same way that we did, but it's definitely trying to continue to build those relationships with the kids. So definitely spot on, man. And so I'm gonna go ahead and pass you over to my guy, Coach O.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, it's great, man, to see everything come full circle with you guys, man. And that's how basketball is, man. It's just things, people don't understand how small the world is and how small the DMV itself and the relationships. You're just like maybe one or two meetings from somebody, not knowing how you know somebody through somebody else, man. So it's great to see that as well. Coach, I got a thing I want to do, man, where for me, myself, as I look around, myself, Will, Tobias, and you, we all coach at the schools where we graduated from. So I think that's a vital part of building a program, especially when you're talking to kids that may frown at your program for some stuff that they may have saw, or how losing or changing things and stuff like that, because you know the history. Can you kind of like explain to us what a Coolidge Colt, the pride in which comes with being a Coolidge Colt?
I know when I first got here, I didn't know the history of Coolidge. So I got here in 07 with Coach Vaughn. I remember I was introduced to Kurt Smith. And it was just an introduction. I didn't really ask so much about Coolidge or anything. So we played a year, and then that summer, Kurt coached me with assault. And he was on my ass the whole year because he watched me play the whole year. And in his words, I kind of disrespected the brand of Coolidge because I was a high head. I wanted to do things my way. So he broke it down to where he was like, man, Coolidge represents, you can be tough, but you have to be coachable. You have to show character. You know what I mean? He broke down just different variables to where Coolidge became bigger than just me. Because me coming here, Coolidge was 4-24. So I'm thinking, all right, this school's sorry. We the number one team in the league. We top 5 in the area. So I'm thinking, oh, this Derrick. But when I met Kurt and he broke it down to me that way, I'm like, damn. Then he telling me about Derrick Payne, you know what I mean? Omar Weaver, Donald Hodge. Like he broke down the history for me to where, oh, this school was pretty good. And he's like, man, character would take you a long way. And he always told me, like, don't let your attitude get in the way of a successful future. So I would say this school is enriched with a lot of good basketball players, but being humble and having good character is becoming a real Coolidge Coach.
Right, and I agree, man. I mean, being a Mustang, bleeding maroon, protecting the white, that's one of the things where, as coaches, it's a constant thing for us to bring alumni back so they can actually see people that not just make it, but see the people that care. You know, we got this thing where certain players wear certain numbers because of that reason. You know, and we do that out of so the kids can know that, oh, they can learn somebody else new. You know what I mean? And I think we had Coach Shingler on early in the year, right when the pandemic first started, and he talked about at South Carolina getting those guys to write letters to alumni of the past at South Carolina, which was huge, you know. And I did that with my guys, and not only was it huge for my guys, it was probably twice as better for the guys that was receiving the letters that played 10, 20, 30 years ago, to have a kid 15, 16, 17 years old to actually take the time out, not only to write it, but to actually research the information as well. And that's how you build that tradition. And you right on with that with a Coolidge Coach, man. So I'm glad you're there. I know you're excited to be there. Like you said, don't listen to them. I'm gonna tell you, when I was first started, I was same age. They told me you can't coach with passion. You can't yell. You can't scream. You can't. Our kids, this generation needs that. Now, as long as it's under control and it's still for the betterment of the program, coach how you coach. You know, like I tell a lot of officials, you never heard me once curse at you. I never disrespect you. All I'm doing is coaching with passion and pride. So keep that passion and pride going on the sideline. and definitely appreciate you on that one. All right, so I'm gonna pass you over to Desmond Small from Washington Venice University.
Hey, what's going on, Coach Derrick? What's going on, man?
What's going on, Coach?
Ain't too much, man. Like I said, I'm a passionate coach myself. Me and you are similar in a lot of ways. Me and Lil Gerald had that conversation about when they see me on the sidelines, me and you kind of marry each other sometimes, and how aggressive we are on the sideline. So I appreciate your passion, man, and what you're doing for the game in DC. The DC needs you. You know what I'm saying? They need you. They need that energy, that promotion. Obviously, I follow you on Twitter and all of the promotion that you do for the kids. And, you know, I got a connection with Chase, and he talk about a lot of great things about you all the time in the program. So, you know, so I got a lot of respect for you. And you wanted, again, like I echo everybody else, you one of the best young coaches out here. I'm a young coach, so I always promote and want to see all of us do well, to kind of kill that stigma of young coaches not being able to take over a program and do big things and stuff like that. So big ups to you about that. So I know you're a huge part of Takeover. You know, I know a lot of guys in Takeover and stuff like that. I know you play a huge role in that. So just talk about your like what's your role in Takeover? How does that help you as a coach and help your program? And then my second part to the question is how you like what's your thoughts on AAU? You know, and how it definitely affects high school basketball, and especially with everything going on with AAU now and the pros and stuff like that. You give us all, you know, your thoughts and views on where you think AAU is going.
Okay. Takeover. I'm basically the DC, the DC guy for Takeover. I'm recruiting most of the DC kids. Of course, I have a feeder program in Warfare Warriors where we develop and we get kids to a level by 6th grade to where if they can play at that level, I'll move 1 or 2 to take over by 7th grade. But yeah, basically I'm the DC guy for Keith, which I call him Uncle Keith. But being with Takeover, it has helped me a whole lot. Just learning from Keith, learning from Doug, being able to get on, like during this the COVID-19 situation, being able to get on Zoom calls with them and listen to other coaches that they bring on and just stuff that I can implement here at Coolidge. And they have been probably my number one supporters as far as me being here as well. So both ways, I think we both help each other. AAU, I think AAU was great. You know, I think it's great. Yes, it does take a little bit away from high school, but I think it gives our kids more because it gives our kids more of an opportunity to be in front of those coaches, you know what I mean, on weekends, rather than having one game where you got a college coach in the gym and then he can't come see you until a month later. You got a whole weekend where you can sit and play in front of this coach. Whether if you have a bad game on Friday, you can bounce back Saturday and Sunday and have great games. So I think AAU is great. Some people abuse it. You know what I mean? Some people are in it for the wrong reasons, yes. But I think that's everywhere. I think that's in high school basketball as well. But I think possibly, well, what the NCAA is doing now is definitely giving us more power as far as high school coaches, especially with that bringing in the June live period. So I think that definitely helped high school coaches in a way. But I know a lot of people are against AAU as far as high school coaches, but if you can put your kids in position to be successful, why not be for AAU if it's helping our kids? That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. Like I always tell, like I always kind of say this, like AAU is a necessary monster that you have to be a part of. It's just the way the game go. You got to kind of get on the train and use it and not let it use you for the benefit of your kids. Takeover's always been doing a great job promoting their kids, doing what they have to do, putting their kids in position, starting from the grassroots. And I believe like you, Lil Keith, Ray, Gerald, y'all are the real foundation of the program because y'all instill the skill set and the mindset and for them to be able to grow and y'all are like the foundation of the brand that build it all the way up. Because without y'all being there in the front lines, getting all of the kids to buy into the Takeover brand, getting them to do things the right way, that's the foundation of what get the Terrences and the Trevor Kills and all of them guys who've been playing with y'all since they was young to where they at now, to being 5 stars and McDonald's All-American. So I think y'all like the one of the major pillars of the program with Takeover. And I know, because it started from that ground up, and I know the work, and I see the work that y'all put in with that. So I appreciate you sharing all of that. I'm going to pass it to Coach John Kamal from Parkdale High School.
I've been sitting back, a lot of great insight, and just, like I already said, I'm proud of you. So I just wanted to ask you a couple more questions. This is gonna be like a 3-part question. So the first part of my question is, when you got the Coolidge job, what was at the top of your goal list? What was something that you just had to get done? And second part of that question is, when you was playing, what was your rival school? And now that you're a coach going into your 3rd year, what's the rival for Coolidge right now?
First part, when I got hired, the first thing I wanted to do is create a foundation, which is and to get the tradition back going. So I wasn't really worried about wins and losses in year 1. I more so wanted to get the kids to be in practice, because the year before they probably had 3 to 4 kids in practice every day. I wanted to make sure we get our kids in the gym an hour before our game. You know what I mean? Get them to school on time. So that was me trying to build the foundation. I was able to achieve that in year 1. So going into year 2, I kind of added on to that. You get what I'm saying? All right, now let's be an hour and a half early before the game. You know what I mean? You come an hour and a half early, I'll have something for you. You know what I mean? Just give them incentives and things of that nature. When I played, our rival school was Roosevelt. You know what I mean? Bensdale is right down the street. Football has always been a big rivalry. So basketball, once I went transfer here, I think our first game was here at Coolidge, and it was standing room only. So since then, it's always been Coolidge Roosevelt. Plus, we probably are 2 of the winningest programs in the last 10 to 15 years in the DCIAA. And going in right now, I would say Roosevelt still, because each game that I've had against Roosevelt so far has been big, but I think us and Wilson is more of the rival right now, being as though it's the players knowing each other and been playing against each other for a long time, and coaches-wise, you know what I mean? Me and H going at it, heated moments between us as far as verbal words, and then me and Coach T, our relationship. So I think for me personally, my rival for right now will probably be Wilson.
Definitely. I've seen those games, and I've seen the build up to those games, and I already know that's definitely a huge rival. Y'all competitive,
Right.
and you being a coach, and you bringing that back, like you said, that quick, bringing Coolidge back to that level, and being able to be in those type of games, man, that's awesome. And so I also want to touch on something we was talking about it before we actually got on. And you mentioned to Coach Dez, and you said Coach Dez said you are DC. You basically say you are DC for Takeover. But when you said that, and then you also came back and said your first goal was to make sure these kids got to the game on time and whatnot. Can you explain just being a coach in DC with all the adversity that these kids go through? Got some coaches like yourself, Coach Battle, that was at Chavez. They're losing athletes to the streets and things like that. Tell me that role that you have to play that a lot of coaches and a lot of people don't really understand, like being a coach in DC and what you got to do for them kids.
Most people don't understand that is I always said it's bigger than basketball. You know what I mean? These kids, I have 3 to 4 kids who don't have a meal when they go home. You know what I mean? They don't have a way to school. They beefing. They can't get on a train. You know what I mean? It's just different situations to where us as coaches, if we want them to get to where we need them to be in an hour or an hour before the game, us as coaches, we have to wear that hat to where we have to go get them. Those kids who can't make it, we have to go get them personally. So every day before a game, I'm probably in my car, or my wife is probably in her car going to go pick up one of my teammates, or sending Ubers or things of that nature, because we have to become more than a coach at that point. We have to become father figures, big brothers, you know what I mean, stuff like that, because those kids need it. They don't have it at home.
Definitely, man. A lot of people, don't see that part of coaching. It's definitely, more than basketball, and it's tough coaching in the city. So definitely. So I'm gonna go ahead and pass it to Coach Will Maynard from Southern High School.
Coach, I'm definitely enjoying hearing some more about you, getting to know you, and all that type of stuff. But my question I have for you right now is, what advice would you give a young coach who's looking to get into the coaching game?
Stay grounded. Stay grounded. Learn how to block out the crowd, and don't let a mistake or a loss change your mindset on your coaching method. A lot of times, we lost, and I'll probably be going home thinking of what I could have done better, and thinking maybe I need to switch how I go at this play, or switch how I do this and that. And in reality, all that does is it affects our team in a negative way, because I'm not focused. I'm not giving them the same me every day, because I'm thinking too much. I'm overthinking the situation. So what I'll tell a coach is just stay grounded and stay true to yourself and what you believe in. And because after year one, once I learned that, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna do it my way. I started to see improvement in myself as a coach and in my relationship with my players.
Yeah, that's definitely good advice, and definitely something that I had to learn, not just as a young coach, but even today. I've been in the game double-digit years. I mean, it's easy to second-guess yourself, whether because, and as well as I do, either yourself or, your coaches might tell you something that you didn't do, you get thinking, and then you might hear somebody say something in the stands or after the game or something like that. So, yeah, it's definitely easy to second-guess yourself. And like I said, man, I commend you, you know what I mean? Because, like I said, every coaching job is tough, in my opinion, but I think some are tougher than others. And I definitely commend you on that, because, again, you have a lot more factors. I think one thing a lot of people fail to realize, and just talking to certain coaches, is they feel that just because you might be at a school where you have more talent, it's an easier job, and that's far from true. Sometimes that comes with more headaches.
Exactly.
So I'm gonna pass it on to the next question to Coach O of Bladensburg High School.
Yeah, you hit that on the head. Everybody always assumed that too. That like, because you got talent, it's the easier job, but it definitely can get quite difficult, man. So definitely appreciate that insight on that information as well. So a quick question too. And what has been the most challenging part for you thus far when you first started coaching at Coolidge to now?
Most challenging, the classroom. The classroom, for sure. I'm getting to know the kids more, so the court, putting them on the court, it's easy. They want to play. You know what I mean? They want to show that they the best player in the city. It's the classroom where nobody else is except the people in the building, where they're not focused. So I find myself every now and then leaving out of my class, out of the gym, and just popping up to see what they're doing in their classes. And what I've learned in these 2 years is some of these kids really can't do the work at some point. You know what I mean? They need a little more help. They need a little more motivation. You know what I mean? They can't go home and do homework, because when they get home, they got different things they have to worry about other than homework. So I'm still learning. I don't have it perfected yet, but just trying to figure out ways to where I can help them get all of these things done before they have to transition to home. You know what I mean? Leaving the school. But that's definitely the toughest part that I got to deal with right now.
Yeah, I can second that too. Because a lot of time there's no a lot of times for kids or student athletes, the purpose of me, for their mindset, their purpose of going to class so I can play basketball.
Right.
And then the most challenging part for me is when the season is over with, making sure that they stay locked in the entire time. And that's where it comes in, where I don't know if y'all administrators tell you guys this, and I believe it full, but they always say that athletes are held to a higher accountability. And I argue that fact because if you're going to treat me that way, if you're going to tell me that's who I am, well, then treat me that way. So if you know I'm having struggles, I need somebody to come in and help me with my academics, not giving me the work, but teaching me a little bit more further than the classroom. Having study halls that have educators in there so the kids can actually learn, and stuff like that. So I definitely agree with that when it comes to the classroom. And then like for us, a lot of times too, going to their classrooms, now you become the teacher. So now every time the teacher see you, I'm gonna get your coach. I'm gonna get your coach. And you're like, so what did they do? Oh, he had his headphones on. Oh, he had his cell phone out. He keep walking around. He want to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, those are childish things that shouldn't have to take place in high school, but they want us to solve all the problems. And to our best of our abilities, we try to do so as well. So I'm glad you tapped on that. So my next question too, as far as the challenging, we got that part. What's been one of your biggest moments as far as on the sideline?
Biggest moment on the sideline. Shit, I guess beating St. John's was my biggest win on this, as far as being on the sidelines. Seeing we had a player this year, Walter Moore. He isn't the best of the best players, but a few games he got in, he scored. So just seeing his excitement, that's probably my biggest moments that I'm like, okay, we're actually getting through to the kids. They're having fun, because a lot of times you could be winning, but all the kids having fun. So.
All right, and then so I know because every person that come on here is so humble. I have a hard time doing it too, but give us one of your biggest wins. What you consider one of your biggest wins?
St. John's definitely. It's probably one, but another big win for us was against Centerville this year.
Okay.
Win against Centerville, that was a great win for us.
Okay, and then as far as like that, as far as getting those big W's, going into a game like you said earlier, somebody tweeting that St. John's will beat you by 40 and all that type of stuff like that. I definitely understand what that's all kind of about. I definitely do. So now before we close, I just want to ask you, as far as the pandemic, how has that been for you as well, and how have you been able to navigate through those?
It's been tough. We try to do at least 2 Zooms a week with our kids. One will be working out, another will be breaking down film from last year, just going over stuff, just to keep them sharp and keep them involved into the game. Can't let their minds just go to the streets, because that's all they're doing right now. Most of the kids that's in the city, all they doing is going outside every day and hanging out late at night. So we try to make sure we get them in the house at 6, 7 o'clock, and we do like a 2-hour Zoom. That may be the most they do in a day. That's, other than them just running around. So we try to make sure we get 2 days a week, in which we got one today at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, that's definitely right, man. I take my hat off to you guys, man, because after spending the summer with Battle and him to get those phone calls that you never want to get from parents or from players, is telling you how you are with kids and stuff that happens, man. It's a lot our kids have to go through. I think this generation of kids, the last 5 or 6 years, have adult problems at an early age. And I think a lot of times as adults and like ourselves, we kind of like forget that what they have to go through just to have a regular day, and in a snap of a dime, that regular day can be broken with tragedies or anything that may happen. So definitely, man, take my hat off to you, man. Before we close out, man, you got to tell me about this one, man. It's my first time saying this. I had to screen it. What's this feeling right here, Coach?
Hey, but look, I'm glad you just showed this one. I just told you about Walter Moore, and that's Walter, number 35.
Okay. And look, so let me ask you a question about Walter. So Walter don't get in the game a lot, or he doesn't? What's going on? What's talk about
Like,
Walter?
great kid. Just isn't one of the better kids. So in tough games, it's hard to really get him in. But
Right.
in games when we up probably 20 or so, he'll definitely get in the game. And like I said, every game he got in, he had a moment like this.
And now what I can see is what a lot of basketball people don't understand about this picture. And coach, you can chime in too. This one of these pictures you got to frame. Well, the first thing you got to notice is that the coach over here, I don't know coach name right here, but with the lean, that lean is go in. You know what I mean? That's one of those, got one.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then you got over here in the corner, my man right here with the KD hoodie on. He already,
Right.
you can already tell that's his man. You know, you already tell. You know, they talking about this on the bus, on
Right.
Snapchat. They said, man, when you get in today, let it fly, and he locked and loaded. And then,
Right.
and then the kids on the bench is like all locked in. And then you got coach like, that's my. If I could say the L word right now, it'd be training day right there. You know what I mean? He knocked it down. You know what I mean?
Every time he got in the game, he had a moment like this.
Yeah, that's good. What grade is Walter in?
He graduated. He's going to St. Augustine.
Oh, perfect, man. And you send the kids to school, man. It's an awesome thing, man. And I know hopefully Walter get to see this. Shout out to Walter 35. Now, now we hanging that jersey up for Walter or what? No, we can't hang it up.
Might have to, man.
Okay.
Might have to.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. So, man, great having you on as usual, man. Thank you so much. On behalf of the Dry Race panel, man, we say thank you. Is there anything you want to ask of us before we close out, Coach?
Nah, man. Let's get some games. We got all coaches on here. Let's get some games together, man.
I ain't gonna tell you a certain member said, man, what Derrick looking for.
Let's get some games, man.
A certain member said they looking for Coach Derrick, man. I ain't gonna say no names because I ain't know.
Where you at? Where you at?
Let's set it up, man. We can set it up. Let's get it.
There's your opportunity, Coach Wade. What's going on, man?
Nah, we already talked about it.
Oh,
We back in the same joint. It's already set up. It's locked and loaded.
I was there for that one. That was a good one.
That was good.
Yeah,
There was a lot of talent on that court, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was a lot of
game.
talent on that court.
And my man had the J's on while he was coaching too.
I gotta stay young somewhere, man.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. At least I ain't seen no LeBrons.
Right.
Yeah.
Don't talk about the LeBron comment because you know he said earlier.
Yeah,
That
won't go too far.
You know your tweet.
Jordans or Air Max, man.
That's right.
Hey, Coach. They say if you come in the city, you ain't getting no calls. Is that true?
I don't get no calls, so you might get them. You come play us. You come play us, you gonna get them.
Only lies in my circle, we hungry for purpose.
Pleasure, brother.
Later.
Take the knowledge and study and learn it. Be as strong as the weakest. 1 through 12 is equal. Tried to trap me, saw it now. You know, I had to thread the needle. Try erase and draw it up. Just trying to see my youngins eating. Yeah. You know, I had to thread the needle, dry erase and draw it up. Just trying to see my youngins eating.